Please welcome to the stage, Mike Zakarian.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. We're back. We took a couple days. We took Tuesday. We took Wednesday. It was just a quiet news day. You know, there wasn't a lot going on in the NBA world. We figured we'd gather up some information before coming back. But hope everybody had a good last couple of few days. I hope everybody celebrated hashtag NFT day yesterday. We had a fun. I mean, listen, if you're tuning in, you already knew the So Rare Studios announcement. But if you missed it yesterday, we tweeted out a little video announcing our opening day stream. And I'll tell you, we've got some fun guests already. I'll give you some stuff that we've locked down. Katie Heindl's coming back. We got Andrew Schlecht from Down to Dunk and The Athletic coming on. Ian Carmel's coming on. For you Nuggets fans, Adam Maris from DNVR, he's coming on. And we got a few more that I need to that have agreed to come on that I need to, finalize before we announce those ones, but a couple of other big ones. So we're getting really excited. And listen, we're just over a month away, right? So it's October 24th. We're going to go from noon to whenever the first game starts. And then Weisberger is going to be joining us momentarily. We'll be over on playback after that. So a full ass day of stuff. So looking forward to that. I'm excited that basketball is almost back. But just a reminder too. So tomorrow, we'll be back tomorrow with the show. I've pre-recorded some stuff for next week, but just a reminder, Team Hold is dark. No live shows starting on Monday, and then I'll be back, I believe, either Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm going to see how I'm feeling on Tuesday when I get back. So we fly in Sunday night. And then travel from Boston to New York on Monday, and then we'll see where I'm at on Tuesday. But just a heads up, we'll be over in Ireland for a week or so. So before we get Weisberg here, who do we got? We got Jump Shoot up in the chat. Steve's here. Vincent, what's up, my man? Vincent's here. Shiggins, somebody's getting sued. Oh, we'll talk about that towards the end. Snoopaloop, let us know it's Happy National Cat and Dog Gut Health Awareness. It's a good day for us to celebrate. We the people's here. Weisberg's here. We got Stubbs, Matic, Otto, Gershaw, Bowdivine, Hugo's here. T-Man's here. Who else? Anybody else? Did we get everybody? I think we got everybody. So let's do it. Let's bring Weisberg on. We'll talk about, I don't know, whatever we want to talk about. Mike, what's going up, man? How are we doing?
Good, man. Yeah, we got a lot going on. Look, if you guys want to buy merch, we do have a merch store. You can.
There we go.
Grab a little bottom shot. Whatever set of Team Hold merch you want to pick up.
Well, yeah, you can see
go
there's
grab
a
that
link in the show notes for that one. TeamHoldNFT.com. You can get whatever you want. You can get whatever you want there. A little bit of everything. So go check it out. All right, here we go. Matthew says, I think a subscriber perk should be a link to all the DMs you slid into to invite them to the open. Hey, listen, man. I'm happy to tell you. I would say the craziest one I've sent is Bomani. Bomani Jones is probably the craziest invite I threw out there. But most of them are like reaches, but reasonable. Steve Cerruti reached out to Cerruti. That was another one. I'm trying to think of some other high-end ones that I reached out to. But anyways, it was good.
I will say this for the audience. The stuff that Mike isn't saying is the far more interesting stuff in some ways. Like he's linked a bunch of the guest list right now. There's more coming. All I'll say.
Yeah.
If everyone confirms. So
Yeah,
we're pretty psyched.
Kai Jones would be good.
Yes,
Yeah.
Kai Jones would be great.
So a lot of people talking about the team hold. The set merch stuff. Let's save the. Let's do some basketball stuff up front,
Yeah.
and then we'll talk a little bit about the Top Shot stuff a little bit later. Why don't we do that? So the first thing I want to talk about. This wasn't even on our list, Weisberg, but I did a short on this morning because I was just getting caught up. So I don't listen to the Austin Rivers podcast pretty regularly. Like occasionally I'll check it out, but he was on Bill Simmons this week, and I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty
It
good.
was great.
And he's pretty transparent about a lot of stuff. Some stuff it felt like I don't know, some stuff I was like, okay, all right, relax. But he said something that I thought was interesting about just like players being in the right situations, and was talking about LaMelo being in Charlotte. And again, if you are on the Charlotte Hornets and you hear something like that, you're probably like, man, can you just shut up, dude? Just shut up. Like, it's fine. But I did think it was interesting that Miles Bridges was the one that came out on Instagram, and it was basically just like, y'all say whatever you want when you get on a podcast. And I just would like to commend Miles Bridges for this time slapping back at a man instead of a woman, which I know is a change for how Miles Bridges usually does this stuff. But I was just like, man, if I'm like Miles Bridges, if I'm on Miles Bridges' PR team, I'm just like, hey man, you just got to do your best to like shut the fuck up for like 3 years. Just like shut up and play basketball. Hopefully people, like leave you alone. But anytime you put yourself out there, you're just setting yourself up for stuff like that.
Yeah. Miles Bridges, what are you doing, bro? Just like of all people on that, like if Gordon Hayward had stepped out, which would be pretty uncharacteristic for Gordon Hayward.
Yeah.
But like if someone like him had stepped up and been like, hey man, Austin, pretty unnecessary, man. That people would be like, oh, that's weird, but okay, like acceptable. Miles Bridges stepping up and being like, hey, Austin Rivers, what the fuck are you doing? It's kind of weird, given that you just sat out a full year because you were facing felony charges.
And that's like part of the reason, like part of what he's saying is it's a bad situation because like between that and what's going on with Kai Jones right now. And I don't know. Yeah, but you're right. I just sit it out. Sit this one out, bro.
It's just like, and LaMelo not doing himself any favors this week. For those that did or didn't see his new tattoos that he posted on Instagram.
Oh, I didn't
Mike, did you see those?
No.
Oh, wait, what? They're basically like full length sleeves, but they look like they cost $100. Like they look like the worst tattoos I think I've ever seen. Like even within like House of Highlights comments, which are pretty toxic in general, people were just crushing these tattoos.
Really? Oh man, I only saw Tatum's this week. I didn't see.
Oh no, LaMelo's are a sight to behold.
Wow,
they're really like a grade A class of just like, why would you make these decisions as a whatever LaMelo is now, like 22-year-old making $200 million? Just
I love it. All right, that's enough on the Hornets. We've already talked too much about the Hornets. What I know there's a list of topics. We got like the Buddy Hield stuff, the Dwight Howard stuff, some other stuff. I don't know where do you want to start?
Quickly, because we passed on it, and I just heard about this rumor in the Rights to Ricky Sanchez yesterday. Have you heard about this Kelly Oubre James Harden story?
No.
Oh. So this is, to be fair, this is all alleged rumors, but apparently there is some Kelly Oubre James Harden beef from a couple years ago. According to gossip sites from several years ago, but basically James Harden threw a party in Houston. Oubre is from Houston. Shouldn't say from Houston. Moved to Houston after Hurricane Katrina, so he grew up as a Harden fan. Ended up at a party that Harden threw, and James was dating this Instagram model, and apparently Oubre more or less left the party with Harden's girl, and James Harden threw enough of a hissy fit that he threatened to shut down the party.
Wow.
The kicker, here is that Oubre is now married to that woman.
Wow.
Yes. Mr. Stewie Kelly Oubre.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I mean,
so do you
look,
think though, but hold on, do you think Morey did that because Oubre was a good fit for the Sixers or to like piss Harden off more?
I mean, there's no way that given that it was a thing in Houston, there's no way that Morey didn't know about it.
Right.
Right.
Especially because of
So,
how close they are.
Right. So
That's pretty good.
Look, this is all rumor, alleged, that kind of thing. I want to put all of our caveats out there.
That's good.
But it is given the Harden and Morey friction. Exactly. A pretty pretty compelling shot here by Morey. And the other thing to consider is with training camp a couple weeks away, and we're going to get into the Dame situation in a second. The question of what Harden does is compelling because Harden can't just sit out the year. By CBA rule, if he doesn't play, he can't play anywhere.
Right, he can't miss the first 30 days, basically.
So it's
or more than 30 days.
You're forcing Harden to play with someone he doesn't like already.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he's pissed off about his contract. It feels like Morey's kind of poisoning the well a little bit in a way that, like, you want to talk about making things uncomfortable. Someone who stole your girlfriend allegedly and is now married to that person is kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, I just can't. Like thinking about it more, there's no real upside on Morey's part. Like that would just be a spite move, right? It doesn't really make the Sixers locker room better.
Well,
it's just
in terms of chemistry,
right?
The court, like, look. Here's what I would say about Oubre. Can Kelly Oubre score both on and off the court? Apparently, yes. But he could potentially start for that team. But that said, he's definitely their best bench piece.
Yeah.
Given what they have, and for $3 million, it's worth taking the flyer on him at this stage of the game. You know, whether it was Christian Wood or Oubre, the Sixers did need some bench depth, and they have the roster spots, so it's not that big of a deal to do it. The question becomes, like, is it worth bringing a guy who consistently across locker rooms, whether it's Charlotte or in Golden State, has been a problem?
Yeah.
Like, you hear on background how people feel about Kelly Oubre Jr. It's not great.
I mean, well, clearly, like, he signed a $3 million deal. Like, and that tells you everything you need to know. I also like you just saying that it's like the Sixers aren't a serious contender. Like, if you were just like Kelly Oubre might start for them or is their best bench piece, it's like, oh, okay, this team's not gonna make.
I mean, look, even with D'Anthony Melton, if you consider Melton your best,
I love Melton, but Melton's like can play on a playoff team. Like he can play strong winning minutes. Where like Kelly Oubre, I've only seen Kelly Oubre score 25 points on shit teams.
Yeah, and that's I actually thought he was productive with Golden State, but the most telling thing about the Golden State stuff was how quickly they got tired of him.
Oh yeah, but that's what I mean, right? Like Golden State is a winning culture, a winning team, and they're like, no, we're good. Right? Like that's all I need to know about him, about D'Angelo Russell, like whatever lefties come through Golden State, apparently. Yeah, I'm starting to lean. I just feel like Harden's probably just going to play this year out with Philly now, or if he gets traded, it's probably closer to February. Like the longer this goes on, there's just no real win for anybody, and like Harden's better off playing really well and then getting paid versus going the route that he's been going.
Whether it's Harden or Dame, December 15th is a date to consider now, I think.
Yeah.
Because December 15th is a date that you can trade people who you signed in the offseason.
Yeah.
And I think, we can transition a little bit to Dame here.
Yeah, let's go to Dame.
It's been an intriguing month, news-wise, in terms of how we look at leaks. When we spoke about this last couple weeks ago, there were a bunch of leaks. We all know, like, where the Shams camp is on this, / Chris Haynes, and then the Woj camp. We've talked about that at length.
Mm-hmm.
What I think is more compelling now is we've heard a lot of what I would call like mini leaks about Dame's position at this point. Dame goes on a podcast this week and basically gives like kind of mixed messaging to an extent, saying, "Hey, look, in a perfect world, I would love to stay in Portland, but also, they didn't exactly live up to what I was looking for. On the flip side, we've heard from both Ramona Shelburne, Zach Lowe, Chris Haynes, that basically like teams are concerned about, as Zach Lowe put it, being a way station.
Right.
And particularly reports out of Florida, Barry Jackson, saying that teams are basically being told that, like, if Dame gets traded there, he's going to demand a trade anyway.
Which
With 4
makes
years
him,
left.
I think, the first player to have like concurrent trade requests, right? Like to be right, which is insane. I'll be honest, man. I've been a Dame fan for a while. This is the fact that he made me take KD's side on something has shown you like his fall from grace, right? He's getting on these podcasts. He's like, oh, I would never do what Kevin Durant did, whereby going to the Golden State Warriors. And I'm like, man, look in the mirror right now. You are doing the exact same thing.
Well,
he's going to a team that lost in the finals. He's demanding that he goes there. Right?
The counter that, by the way, I've had this discussion with Warrior fans over the last couple of days. The counter that Warrior fans say is, well, technically we had won a title before then, which makes it, like, in theory, a little better from Dame's perspective because Dame would be getting them over the hump.
Yeah,
like because Miami's been to the finals the last 2 out of the last 4 years, but they haven't won it. So from Dame's perspective, he's the guy who gets to bring them over the top.
That is awful.
And to Shiggins' point, the Heat didn't eliminate his own team though. Like that's the other like kind of interesting thing about the KD stuff is like you lost in a series in a heartbreaking fashion, and you're like, you know what? That would be the best thing to do. Let's go play for those guys.
You know what? Hold on, Stan. You can't have it both ways, dude. You can't have it. You can't be like, oh my God, we're the biggest underdog. No one believes in us. Heat culture.
Yes.
And then go to the finals 2 of the last 4 years, being in the Eastern Conference Finals, how many years in a row it's been, or out of like whatever the ratio's been. Like you can't have it both ways, dude. You can be fucking nobody, or you can be the team that's supposed to be the favorite. So just pick a fucking lane about which direction you want to go with this, Stan, okay? Do you want to be no one believes in us, no one talks in us, or do you want to be like, oh, Heat culture, Dame wants to go here because we have the best shit in the world, all right? You lost in the finals, all right? You lost in the finals, and Damian Lillard is out there being like, the only place I will go is this one team. And I find it annoying. I'm finding the whole discourse around it super annoying right now. So,
well, and the other thing is, we had that Jason Kemp post from The Volume, and I like Jason, but like he put that video out yesterday, and boy, did that man get crushed. I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but he basically put out a video saying how, Portland owes it to Dame, and we're getting that level of discourse. And like, I think to me, and this is just me, and this is a point that's been made. It's not necessarily original in any real way. But let me just be clear. Like, if Dame had gone to Portland and been like, hey, here's 5 teams that I would potentially go play for, I think people would be far more accommodating. The fact that Dame has been like one team only and fuck everything else. A, you've limited Portland's ability to really make moves. B, you're in a vacuum right now where there are other major movers on the horizon, Giannis, Embiid, that have kind of lessened the market. If you're in New York, you're not going to trade for Dame right now if you know that Embiid and Giannis are available. So if he'd been said like, hey, here's 5 teams I'd be willing to be traded to, Portland, you guys have been great, but at least this will give you an opportunity to get the best value back for me. I at least would have understood it. Instead, it's like, not only do I want the best chance to win, do I want to get paid all of the money that's owed to me, but also I want to make sure you get as little back as possible.
Yeah. I go back and forth where it's like, I don't think Portland owes him anything. And I don't think he owes Portland anything, right? Like, I think it's run,
right.
it's run its course and it's fine. But I mean, like, dude, you have like 4 years left on a contract, or how many, what's 4 or 5? However many years you have left, like I feel like
4 years left.
Yeah. And it's so
at $200 million.
Yeah. Portland has like a responsibility to take care of their own, versus making sure we're like, oh, we want to thank Dame for his service. Yeah, you thanked him by giving him $200 and whatever million Like that's the thing. That is what the money is for. And so it's whatever. Like he requests to go to Miami. Cool. Like that's fine. He's got a trade request. I'm just the way that this continues to drag on and the discourse around it is just so dumb.
Well, it's forced people to take sides in a way that like creates this intriguing. Like, I think we're all for player empowerment. Fuck the owners. Let's just be very clear.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to be caping up for ownership.
Right.
That said, I do understand where teams coming from, where they're like, well, you're limiting all of our opportunities to do anything. You know? And like, I understand where Portland's fan base and Portland's management is just like, at this point, I almost feel like they just don't want to deal him to Miami.
Right.
Like
it does.
They would take a lesser deal, spite their nose, you know, to make sure that he doesn't go to Miami, because Miami's whole offseason has been based on Dame. You lose Vincent.
To be clear, too, I still think he's going. Like he is going to Miami. I still think that's where he's going to end up, because I don't think anybody outside of Toronto is willing to like risk getting him for a year and then it just being done. You know, like I don't think anyone is willing to sacrifice what their potential future looks like just for Dame to get there and then like not play.
If you're Masai, do you deal OG or Siakam?
OG.
I don't know, man. I could see Siakam, because here's the other question with Siakam. If you deal Siakam, you're also limiting your opportunity for Giannis. Because Giannis and Siakam are very close.
Yeah.
So you are limiting that. You did just sign Siakam to a max recently. Not this year. I think it was last offseason. So I don't know if you deal Siakam. I think Portland would prefer Siakam as a piece of OG, certainly.
I agree. But that's why if you're Masai, I would rather keep. I mean, what has OG done? Like, I feel like
is OG basically at this stage Canadian Andrew Wiggins, and obviously Andrew Wiggins is Canadian, but like what I mean by that is like, you know, like a similar-ish style of player who hasn't been paid yet, by the way, either, really.
Yeah.
So like,
I just feel like we've been having this conversation for a long time of like how awesome OG is, and he plays like 45 games a year. Like I don't know. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen him be like this guy that should be worth the 4 first-round picks that Memphis was offering or whatever. I think he's good. I mean, I think he's a fine piece. But if you're saying we can move, we're getting Dame in return, and we're moving, and we're trying to win now, because that's what you're doing if you're moving Dame, and it's Pascal or OG, I'm keeping Siakam.
In theory, yes, but I could see, you know, if you want to beat Miami's return, you deal Siakam, and then you deal with the repercussions later. But then you're basically Portland in the East. Like if you deal Siakam, like you're basically left with OG, Schroeder, like a bunch of pieces that are fine.
Well, that's hold on. You asked me if you're Masai. So if I'm Masai, I'm keeping Siakam. But if you're saying like what is a better deal than Miami, then yes. Yeah, I'm saying Siakam is the better piece.
The counter that I would say from a Masai perspective is you get rid of a long-term piece in Siakam, and yes, he's younger and I think better, but I think the intriguing thing for Masai is you are taking a shot. Right. And if you want to try to beat the Miami offer, the more likely piece that will beat it would be Siakam instead of Tyler Hero. Look,
but
ideally, you'd love to just get away with dealing OG, but I don't think Portland will accept that.
Right. Okay. So yes. So if you're Masai, you're saying the same thing. You would much rather trade OG than Siakam.
Correct.
But you're saying, okay.
But I think the more likely scenario is if you're going to go for a home run, you're going to have to likely deal Siakam.
Yeah. I agree with that. I felt like you were like
we were dancing around the same place. It just took me longer to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think he's gonna go to Toronto though. I don't think he'll go. I mean, like the Sixers are still in the rumor mill if they put Maxey on the table, and they haven't inched any closer to that. I still think he ends up in Miami. I just don't know. I also saw, who was it? The Drop and Dimes Twitter account saying that it was going to be a 3-team that would include Ayton going to the Blazers.
I don't want
Um,
that.
yeah, I thought, well, that dude's been like batting 1,000, so I don't know. But because like the Nurk money would help make that all work. And I mean, obviously, Portland is desperately trying to get off that Nurk contract. I don't know why Phoenix would do that. Like that doesn't really make a ton of sense to me. But I thought
No.
I saw that tweet I was like, oh, that's spicy. That's something I hadn't heard in a while. But ultimately, I
Well,
do. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
what I was just gonna say is we're in this weird space now where what we're seeing is if you didn't get an extension or you're not in a place where you're happy right before training camp, everyone is leaking everything.
Yeah,
And that gets us to Buddy Hield,
yeah,
which to me, like pretty clear leak by Hield's camp being like, hey, like, we've been talking with the Pacers for a couple months. This shit isn't working out on an extension. We're looking to move. And, Indiana clearly wants to get off in expiring.
mhm.
And there's tons of opportunity to deal for Hield. I just feel like any contender that wants to get better can easily deal for him outside of maybe like the Lakers.
My
Like
favorite,
everyone has enough pieces.
my favorite one that I saw was just running the trade back for Brogdon for Daniel Tyson and Buddy Hield. Um, yeah, I kind of like that the way that this one came out. It didn't feel like a negative leak, it didn't feel like a
No,
spiteful leak. It just was like, yeah, guys, we're not coming to terms here on a deal. And like you look at Benedict Mathurin and assuming he's going to evolve a little bit and how the Pacers are growing, it makes sense that Buddy Hield's maybe not on the same timeline as his Pacers team. And you could get a haul for Buddy right now. I think Buddy, like I saw the stat the other day, in the last like 3 years or 5 years, whatever it is, no one's hit more 3-pointers than Buddy Hield, which you have to remind yourself that both Dame and Steph Curry miss huge chunks of time during then. But like he's clearly is one of the best shooters in the league right now. And you put him on a contender, whether he is starting or coming off the bench, he immediately becomes like a valuable asset. Like teams like I threw out like that. I think the Magic would be a really fun landing spot for Buddy because they don't really have a ton of shooting, but they do have a ton of assets and they have like pieces that would make sense for Indiana right now as well. I don't know if the Magic are ready to pull the trigger and try to be good right now, but that to me was like a pretty cool landing spot. I know the Celtics, because I'm a homer, they make sense there because they don't really have a ton of guards because apparently Jason Tatum's our starting point guard now.
yeah, I mean the Celtics one makes the most sense.
Yeah.
And those teams have done a bunch of deals together. And obviously Brad's from Indiana, and him and Kevin Pritchard are pretty tight. The other ones that I think Dallas, I think is compelling.
Yeah.
You want to add shooting around Luka. You can trade Tim Hardaway Jr. easily, Rashawn Holmes. Either one of those contracts work. Additionally, you could here's one that is disgusting, but it's possible. Houston.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Houston still has a ton of. I wonder if
Well, no, they can deal with the Kevin Porter Jr. contract.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder
I'm
if
saying
Indiana.
it's gross.
I wonder if Indiana.
If
would do
Portland,
that.
yeah, I mean, sorry, if Indiana just wants to get off the deal,
Yeah.
like get and get a bunch of picks, like if you get two of those Brooklyn picks or one of those Brooklyn picks,
Mm-hmm.
in exchange for Hield, and just cut Porter Jr. right away,
Yeah.
they may just do that.
I hope not.
That could make some sense for them. Additionally, some other like big picture options. Memphis could work. You want to deal Kennard for Hield, shooter for shooter. Maybe find someone a better opportunity makes more sense in your system.
Mm-hmm.
The Boston thing obviously is going to make a ton of sense. Brooklyn could be intriguing.
Yeah, Brooklyn could be. I think Buddy would immediately become the oldest guy on that team, right?
Yeah, and like they actually don't need to deal anything. They have a trade exception. They could deal him into due to the Joe Harris deal.
Right.
So they can just get him into basically space more or less. And that would work. I guess the other ones, Philly. If Philly wants to do a Tobias Harris deal, The Pacers would have to add some stuff, Tice, to make it work. But like you could, and TJ McConnell, Top Shot Tesla to your point on should be hammering the Celtics under. Here's what I would say. I think the Brogdon news is he's the only guy who hasn't reported yet, I believe. Everyone else, maybe Time Lord hasn't reported yet, but I think everyone else in the team has reported. Brown and Tatum reported super early. They got back into town this week. So this is the earliest those two have come into town, which is interesting. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say you should be hammering the under. They're still going to be really, really good in the regular season. And Porzingis came into town yesterday. So like, I feel pretty good. Like, we're both homers, but
Yeah.
I feel pretty good about where the Celtics are. They're going to win 55 games this year. Whoa.
Yeah, they're good.
That's
We're
fine.
good.
That's
Everything's
New
fine.
York for you. The only other thing that I would say about the Celtics is in regards to Brogdon. I did listen to that Gary Washburn podcast where Washburn reported that it's not as bad as it comes off on social media. It's more just they haven't had conversations.
Yeah. I did not love the report that they're going to be playing Jason Tatum at point guard.
I mean, it's a more logical thing that I think it's the most logical thing they can do because Tatum has to. Like, given that you traded Marcus Smart and Derek White can't play all the time, if you deal Brogdon, you have to have someone who's a ball handler.
But the report,
Tatum's the most likely guy to do so.
The report was Tatum and Brogdon will be the ones handling the point. And so, like, if that's, I mean, I get it if you're thinking Brogdon's gone and you're just not going to get a guard back in return. I don't know. So, anyways, to Tesla's point, if we're out here being like Tatum's going to run point, yeah, I am a little nervous about the over under. I'd probably just stay away from it.
I mean, the matchup stuff to me is intriguing about Tatum bringing it up anyway. Like, he largely did that in the playoffs, right? With Brogdon out. And it was kind of a mixed bag. I know that's something that he's worked on this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
If you follow his social, like he's made it a point to focus more on ball handling a little bit more and playmaking. But what I would say for him is it's probably the next evolution for him anyway, is to be a primary ball handler on this team.
I don't mind. It's weird. I don't really mind the ball handling stuff so much as I'm thinking more about the defensive rotations too. Like if that mean he's defending the one. And I don't know. I don't know. It just feels
they're just so big.
Yeah.
Like they have so much length. Like their starting lineup, they're starting all guys who are basically 6'6" and above.
Yeah.
6'6",
it'll be interesting
6'7".
Be interesting to follow that as we get closer. But let's do one more NBA news piece, then we can talk about yesterday a little bit. But
sure.
Do you want to do Dwight Howard next?
Ooh, Dwight. Sure.
Or something else. Or do you have something else? I'll let you can choose.
No, I mean, sorry, grabbing a little water here. What's that?
Yeah, the reason the Dwight one was funny, I just saw Draymond go to Twitter last night who's mad about leaks because somebody reported that
Jason Dumas from 95.7 The Game.
Yeah, that the vets were good with Dwight, and Dwight's now going to meet with the team again or something like that. And Draymond came out and was pretty mad. To me, this is we're making a lot of noise about something that this is essentially like the Warriors signing JaVale McGee, you know?
Yeah, look, I actually thought that JaVale would be a better fit.
Yeah.
Given that he's played in the system, understands Kerr, has relationships with guys in that locker room. According to Jason Dumas, the vets have all signed off on it. He had good meetings with them, and he's going to LA to go work out with CP and Draymond today, apparently. So, I don't know. I question the basketball fit on the second unit. I think who this really impacts is Jonathan Kuminga. Mm-hmm. And, if you fully want to unlock Kuminga, having a big Dwight in there, I think kills your spacing.
Yeah.
And this is a big year for JK. He's in a contract year. There are already issues in the offseason and playoffs about playing time. And Dwight's just going to murder your overall spacing. Now he's going to be great in that pick and roll with CP on the second unit. But the interesting thing about the Warriors right now is we're hearing a lot of reports, most recently on that Low Post podcast from earlier this week, about Chris Paul starting.
Right.
And we've heard this from 5 different reporters now that Chris Paul is likely to start.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, these rumors are coming from somewhere. And, the other hidden thing about the Warriors, just as an aside, Clay's in a contract year.
Mm-hmm.
Kerr's in a contract year. Joe Lacob just spoke about both this offseason on Tim Kawakami's podcast. And, the word they like to use is optionality.
Right.
And Dwight, by the way, does give them some optionality. But, there's a lot of questions about this Warriors team that I think, this could either go really, really well for them or really, really poorly. You put Dwight, CP, and Draymond in the same locker room? That seems like not a recipe for success.
Yeah. Well, that's why when I did when I made that appearance on the Fast Break Breakfast podcast with Keith Parrish, we were drafting Western Conference teams that could make the play-in, which was a fun little bit. And one of my earlier picks was the Warriors, and for that reason, because not necessarily just for vibes, but they obliterated their depth, and now we're even having a conversation about Dwight Howard, where I don't really think this is a big. This is like a 10th guy they're adding. I'm not really too concerned one way or the other, but because this is such a talking point, maybe part of it's because it's Dwight, but I think the real issue is that they just don't have that depth. And that's why we're talking about Dwight. Well, and so, but I like the range of outcomes. I'm agreeing with you is just so if everybody stays healthy and can play 70 plus games, sure. They win 49 to 55 games. Right. But if that's not the case and they lose Curry for 3 weeks or Draymond for a couple of weeks, they can't lose anybody. They can't.
Yeah. Their margin for error is really thin. And the other thing that I think is important on the Dwight front is it's that guy was in Taiwan last year.
Right.
And who knows how healthy he is. Now, look, as a 10th, 11th guy in this team in terms of the rotation, I think he'll be fine. Dwight keeps himself in great shape. If you read some of those rumors and reports, maybe he's more likely to be himself in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
But by and large, I think it makes sense what they're doing. I'm uncomfortable with where they are. I think they had a lot better moves in terms of bench pieces they could have gotten. The only positive for them is Dwight could solve some of their issues in the playoffs with size. If they had played the Lakers, at least you can throw Dwight in there, potentially even in the starting lineup, to go at Anthony Davis. That makes some sense.
Right. No, I guess that does make some sense. I just feel again, if you're oh man, we just got to grab this 37-year-old, to do it. It's I don't know.
I'm not taking shots at the city that I live in. I'm more noting, if you saw the lawsuit that Dwight got himself involved in, put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think we can stay away from gay jokes if that's what was happening.
No. I'm not making a joke. I'm just saying, you might be more comfortable. That's all.
Yeah. All right. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I feel if this is their big move trying to fill out their roster, then it makes me a little bit nervous about where the Warriors ceiling, but we'll see. I don't know. It was fun. It was fun watching Draymond get mad. It's fun. The idea that they're adding this seems like the 2012 best team of all time, right? You got Dwight. Well, I guess 2012 might be too early, but the idea of Dwight, CP3, Steph, Clay, it's a all-star.
You know what it feels like? It feels like that Nash Lakers team.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It feels like a old collection of superstars who are all in. That was a Karl Malone, Steve Nash team.
Yeah.
And it feels like a bunch of guys who are kind of just all in on 1 year. And, clearly Clay, Dre, and Steph, they all want to be linked together for the next couple years. But if this
Right.
goes poorly, you could see some real organizational change here. Because the Warriors, for example, they owe their draft pick to the Celtics, actually.
Right.
As long as it doesn't finish top 4. Which, look, I'm not or bottom like a bottom 4 record.
Yeah, that's
top 4 pick. Like that's super unlikely.
that's
but you know they do owe some picks out in the future. Like it could get messy for the Warriors quickly.
Yeah.
But if they want to go all in, they can go all in.
Yeah, that'll be fun. All right, let's pivot. Let's do just yesterday's NBA Top Shot stuff in general because they had the big announcement. The big announcement was like you can make money off your sets now, and what that was merch. And I just want to say, like, for those that weren't in Vegas for our live show, one of the highlights for me was very last minute. John Jackson was able to come. We didn't think he was going to be able to come to Vegas because it was right around the time where they were doing like gender reveal and stuff like that for his upcoming fatherdom. And last minute, he's like, hey, I can be there. I'm flying in tomorrow. He gets there and he's only there for like 24 hours. So he's making the most of it. He's putting beers down. We get to the live show. He's feeling himself. He's in a zone. And this topic comes up. And he goes on this like 5-minute rant, essentially being like, yeah, you know what's going to happen? You're going to be able to open up your own Etsy store and print out some t-shirts. And that essentially is what was announced yesterday, which I know I'm laughing at it. I think it's fine. I think it's cool. I think it's cool that they're able to do that. But the way that it was marketed of that this is going to be an opportunity where you can actually make money off of this IP to me is so funny because they're only making money off of people that have already lost money on these sets, right? No one who doesn't have the Hustle and Show set is like, holy shit, I got to go buy that sweet ass merch. No one is doing it but the people that are already down bad. So this, which again, I guess is like a really good illustration of what Web3 is anyways, where you're just continuing to make money off of the people that have lost the most money. And that is what that announcement felt like.
Well,
yesterday.
also that you're taking money out of the marketplace, which is kind of funny. like the idea that you're just like, you know what would be great? Yeah. I need to get some Seeing Stars merch out there, baby.
And like shout out to people that took the time to design some stuff. It's cool. So it's not really a shot at them. It was like another moment of this like announcement of a thing that's coming, and then another announcement of the announcement, and then 2 months pass, and then the announcement is like,
how about you guys just do your own fucking store?
Yeah,
like. I don't know. How about you dropped merch a year ago so people would be more excited about your own official merch? And don't get me wrong, Top Shot has released some merch.
Yeah.
To mixed results. Like, you think anyone gives a fuck about a Top Shot debut T-shirt?
No. Well, and I saw someone being like, "Well, dude, what if the shirt goes viral though?" And like, let me tell you guys, no shirt is going viral because of like the video game numbers design. Like, it's going to go viral because there's going to be some shitty joke on it. Like, that is how it happens. So I just like, once again, passing the burden.
Yeah,
of
110%
user base. So I don't know. I mean, again, I know this is like old hat now where I just poo poo on everything. And I'm not trying to do that. I do think like, again, it's a cool ad. And like, you want to talk about community building. It's great for like people like I'm trying to think of a set like again just Hustle and Show. It's cool that they're able to do something like that, but it's just I don't know. Also, real quick, the fact that what set is Samuel D doing? I don't know. That the fact that they took Max Packs, I just like and again maybe we're so far removed from when we created Max Packs. But I feel like a lawsuit needs to be pending because that I want dividends
Look,
revenue.
No one gave you more shit about Max Packs in stream, mind you, than me. I was the guy who was like, "Fuck this! This is fucking stupid."
Yeah,
I made a whole goddamn video about it. But like, what are we doing? We're just stealing our IP.
Max Packs, man. We were the Max Packs creators,
right? Like, Jeb needs a lawsuit ASAP. Like, it'd be really funny if Jeb got Boston based to just create a faux lawsuit real quick,
Yes, cease and desist.
and then
Wait,
and then did a video
yeah,
announcing that just do it as a short. You didn't even need to do it as like a long form bit. Do it
yeah.
as a quick 30-second bit and see if that goes viral.
We should do that. I like that. Tessa was saying, how is the spaces? Yeah. So the LG hosted a spaces yesterday that Roham and Dumbo and Dieter, I think all came on. Oh, go ahead.
Is Dieter the GM?
I don't know. I didn't know that. I know he's just somebody that's been in, right? Isn't he
The
like
head,
a coach?
he's their head of gaming or something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure his role. But yeah, it was like a nothing. And I mean, not nothing. It didn't pertain really to Top Shot so much. It was they were talking about like Dapper linking, like the Dapper wallet being able to link accounts, stuff like that. It was more on the technical side of things. I think it was more flow forward, if you will. There wasn't really too much. And again, I mean, he's not going to agree. This is the same guy that did a text AMA, right? He's not going to agree to go on a spaces where you can just ask anything. I'm sure most of the questions were like
Yes.
set and stuff like that, which I get. That's what most people do in those positions. And like, cool. We were able to hear from the community. He bought a moment yesterday. That's so sexy. Cool. Boston Base, real quick, made an incredible joke. He tweeted out that he was able to buy one of those Steph Curry's anthologies. And then he replied to it saying, I'm glad somebody got one today because the Top Shot drop got canceled yesterday. So well done by Boston Base.
Yeah. I had a couple like quick responses on a lot of yesterday. Like NFT days always, like yesterday was pretty weird, frankly. Like it was definitely way more muted than it had been in past years. Understandably so, given that we're in a bear market. I think the thing about the Roham stuff that I always find funny is it's like you're announcing a pack marketplace for something that you've continuously announced for the better part of 3 years. Why not, instead of just saying you're going to do something, fucking do it?
I know.
Just instead of hyping something,
I know.
instead of saying, hey, this is something we've been working on for 4 years, why not just release it?
I know.
And then we're good. Then we have one. NFL All Day's had one for the better part of like 8 months, and it's done really well.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with the IP merch thing, right? Like, I think if that just happened, right? If they just reached out to the people that they handpicked, right, to do it, and then all of a sudden that came out, even if it came out yesterday, whenever it came out, I think there were like the response was like, "Holy crap!" But instead, we had 2 months of being like, "Oh my god, how are we going to make money off of our IP? We own the IP." Like, and then it's like, "Oh, I can get a sweatshirt for $75." It's like, okay. Cool.
Well, how about this? Why wouldn't you, instead of having individual people set up merch stores, why not on the NBA Top Shot site have individual merch stores within like your collecting profile? Like you can physically have a storefront, which would be weird with the new collections page. Don't get me wrong, but at least it provides a utility within the site, right? Rather than you got to go to each person's got to create a pre-approved storefront and then go from there. I just think or alternatively, you could have people just create designs, get paid on the Top Shot website, and have it be one unified store.
Yeah.
And maybe let the market decide which designs they like more instead of having the individual stores. Like, I don't like all of the emphasis. This is going to sound very not Web3, but I think at this stage of where NBA Top Shot is, all the emphasis on the community doing the marketing instead of the team doing the marketing is just a concept of where we are 4 years in. Still in beta and still in a space where this digital collectible has about 5 years before the contract runs out.
Yeah. And I do want to cut them a little bit of slack just because I'm sure they're stuck in this rock and a hard place where if they probably didn't want to pump the IP shit as much as they did early on, but everyone's like, oh dude, it's the off season. What are you doing? Are you not doing anything? What are you doing? What are you doing? So they're like, okay, here's a couple of breadcrumbs. And then ultimately it disappoints. So I get that it's a pretty lose-lose. And again, turning Top Shot into Etsy is not where I saw this going. I will say though, that is still my favorite part of this entire, my entire 3 years of doing all of this shit is John Boy Beats just like drunk and calling this like almost verbatim of what it was. And then the best part about this too, and I don't think a lot of people knew this part, is I was talking to Dumbo after the show, like an hour later, and he was explaining it to me. And I thought he was doing a bit, like he had heard John give his speech or whatever, his rant, and then was like, that's what we're doing. I thought he was doing a bit, and halfway through I was like, oh no, that is really what they're doing. And John had just called it a half hour ago. It was really, really funny. I mean, that was
it was so on point. Like you could feel John just like warming up a little bit as he was getting to it, and then it just came with like a flurry of like, this is what's gonna fucking happen, guys.
Yeah.
And immediately it just came. It's like, oh, so good.
Yeah, I think
look, JB's brought it up a couple times now. This is not a new idea.
Yeah, he's so funny. But anyways, yeah, that was it. It was kind of funny yesterday too that there was some article that came out that I actually think the article was dog shit, but it was funny the timing of it. Where it's basically like NFTs have officially collapsed or something like that. That was like 95% of every NFT is worth absolutely zero. And I saw like it just for that to come out yesterday on NFT day while everybody was like quote tweeting a bunch of stuff. It was just the timing, like the whole day was fun. The whole day was a fun watch. You know, I enjoyed it from the sidelines. I got to give away that Tony NFT. But I had a good time.
I find all of it at this stage, like exhausting, like just where we are as a community. Like the way I feel about Top Shot and All Day, frankly, although, hey, look, at least All Day has decided to bring back free Rumble this week.
Oh yeah, that's right.
A nice win for the All Day community.
That's right.
But like, and who knows whether they're going to be bringing back moment ranks for the NBA season. Of course, we haven't had an announcement on that, and we're 2 weeks out. Nor have we heard about League Pass. Remember how they did a whole thing with League Pass last year? Yeah. And they did that a couple weeks before the season. I wonder if they're going to do that again. 2K did it again this year. So I wonder if Top Shot will do something similar. I already bought my League Pass this year through 2K, but like, do you think they'll do it again?
I don't know. I wonder. Last year they did, and then some people complained a little bit. But I don't know. I wonder. I hope they do. I think that those types of things are, whether people go nuts for them or not, I think are good. Just like good moves. I think it just ties it into the game a little bit better. I enjoy that. Go ahead.
I will say this. Speaking of NBA League Pass, you know where you guys could get some free League Pass?
That's right.
On your tip-off show.
That's right. So we're going to get
a month.
I think we're going to give away 3 different League Pass subscriptions that day. We're going to give away, we're definitely giving away a pair of tickets. It might be a handful of tickets to different games of like your choice. Well, you'll be able to get to choose the team of like where you're from, but that's shit anyways. Yeah, we're going to be giving away that. We'll give away some Team Hold merch, some So Rare merch. I think we're going to have some other sort of stuff that we're going to give away too. So that is, I'm getting excited about that. I'm meeting with the So Rare team on Friday, actually, before I head out to Ireland to shore up a couple of other things. But yeah, it's going to be good. I'm getting really excited for the 24th. I'm looking forward to nailing down the rest of the guests. I think we're right now up to 8 guests. I think I need 14 or so. So we're getting close, which is nice.
Yeah, I'm on my end. I'm booking some guests, and like the playback's gonna be great that night. Yeah. We're really excited about what that show is going to be. We're going to be doing 2 games that night, and then we'll host some games over the weekend as well. Probably less guests on the weekend, frankly, just because we're trying to do an all-out day for Team Hold, which would be crazy. Like the amount of guests and giveaways that we're going to be doing all day is going to be fun. So we're pumped.
Yeah, and I think the So Rare NBA community has been like excited for I don't know if this person's waiting for me to. Oh no, you were good. Yeah. All right. I didn't know if they were waiting for me to sign. But the So Rare NBA community was like hungry for some stuff, so I think they were pretty excited at that announcement yesterday. Yeah,
are we giving away So Rare cards or no?
Yeah, we are. They're not going. I don't think we will be giving it away. I don't think the So Rare is going to be given away. I don't think they can do that. I was actually trying to give away give away some like those starter packs if they're doing those again. Also, Tesla said, "Let us know if you need guest Rex." Giannis went on a pod with 130 subs, so aim high. I know that's because it was like a former coach who's like pretty close with Giannis, but that was pretty funny. I think I ordered some waterproof sneakers actually, Boston based, for my trip to Ireland. So I think that is what is outside my window. All right, we're gonna wrap here though, so my sneakers don't get stolen. But Weisberg, good to have you back on here, man. This is fun. Anything you got going on that you need to let people know about?
No, man. Like I said, we're excited about Playback coming back officially in a month. We're gonna get back on our grind. There are some Playback announcements that are kind of in the background that like Mike and I haven't talked about publicly, but there are some big things looming on the Playback front. We're just waiting for them to kind of announce it so that we can announce it publicly. So yeah, man, we're pumped. Go follow me on Twitter. Go follow Team Hold on Twitter. Follow Mike on Twitter. Go buy some merch. Hang out with us. Whatever. You guys know the deal.
Hell yeah. Appreciate everyone being back. I don't think nothing else for today. I don't think so. We'll be back tomorrow morning, and then we go on a little vacay. So I hope everybody has a good rest of the day. Happy Thursday. Oh, football's tonight. That's exciting too. All right, we'll see everybody later. We're out.